G'day, is Lewis Hamilton going out with Kim Kardashian? That was the question on many people's lips today when F1 resumed with media in the paddock today here in Bahrain. The question came from a female journalist in this form. A lot's been said in the media about the company you were in at the Super Bowl. Is it safe to say you enjoyed the company more than the game? Because I understand it was a pretty ordinary game. Of course, pics of the pair have gone crazy across the internet. That and the Bad Bunny performance actually knocked a bit of wind out of Cadillac's launch, which was via a commercial in that telecast. Back to that question, what did Lewis say? I don't comment on those sorts of things. It's private life.
Crazy.
Right there,
This
right?
is unbelievable.
Yeah.
I can't believe you're finally here.
I don't know how you're going to top that.
Lewis Hamilton breaks silence about Kim Kardashian and said, "Enough is enough." The 7-time Formula One world champion, one of the most decorated athletes on the planet, has finally had it. The rumours, the headlines, the paddock jokes, the tabloid sources, and he shut all of it down with just one line. "It's my private life. I'm not talking about that."
For me, being a racing driver as a sportsman, I never get these opportunities.
I'm just here to support him.
If you found the love of your life, he comes into the picture, do you think you would get married again?
I would, absolutely.
Sighting of Kim Kardashian and Lewis Hamilton making out at the Super Bowl suggests a rumored relationship with Kendall Jenner's ex. Kim Kardashian just did the one thing you're never supposed to do. She's being linked to Kendall Jenner's ex. Same man, different sister. They're spotted together at the Super Bowl like it's casual. Then a romantic Paris trip leaks out. Is Kim desperate for attention?
Because it looks like she's dating Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah, this is weird because his exes are Nicole Scherzinger, Rihanna, Kendall Jenner. They were rumored to be together.
God, Lewis Hamilton.
When did being like a race car driver become like a hot profession?
F1 always was.
But hold on, that is not the whole story. Because what happened before that statement, what went on behind the scenes, and what sources are now claiming about kids, a move to LA, and a blended family, that is what we are here to unpack today. This is not all. Subscribe to the channel for more breaking stories like this. But right now, let us set the scene and tell you the complete story.
Now, this next story, I could not believe. This story about Kim Kardashian and F1 star Lewis Hamilton, that they're dating. Now, normally that wouldn't be that surprising, two famous people getting together, except Lewis Hamilton has previously dated Kim's younger sister, Kendall Jenner. Michael, fans online are up in arms about this. They're calling this coupling disgusting. Are they being unfair because love is love and you can't help who you fall in love with?
You know what? I think the public is being very fair. This is disgusting, but maybe they're really trying to. Maybe it's getting the most out of the day. They're gonna save so much time at Christmas dinner that you don't even have to make the introductions. Like, I think you know Mom. I think you know him. You definitely know my sister. You know her in the biblical sense. I don't know.
Oh gosh.
Or maybe he's a race car driver and he's just gonna speed run the whole family. Mom is on his list. Who knows?
Well, yes, Chris is looking very good these days, but the Kardashian men don't do too well. There's a bit of a curse when it comes to men who get together with one of the sisters or even men within the family. So Lewis Hamilton better be careful about that, Michael, because he's in a very dangerous occupation. He's got to be very careful.
Let us take you back to Super Bowl 60. Levi's Stadium, California, one of the biggest sporting events on the planet. Tens of thousands of fans packed inside. The Seattle Seahawks facing off against the New England Patriots. Bad Bunny lighting up the halftime show. And sitting right there, side by side, in what would become the most talked about seats in the entire stadium, Lewis Hamilton and Kim Kardashian. Now, these are two of the most famous people alive. Lewis Hamilton, 41 years old, 7-time Formula One champion, now driving for Ferrari, a man who has won more world championships than almost any driver in the history of the sport. And Kim Kardashian, 45 years old, reality TV mogul, Skims founder, mother of 4, one of the most recognizable faces on earth. The moment those photos dropped, the internet absolutely exploded. But here is what you need to know. This did not come out of nowhere, because before the Super Bowl, the pair had already been spotted together at a luxury hotel in the Cotswolds in England, before heading to London, and then Paris, London, the Cotswolds, the Super Bowl. This was not a coincidence, people. Now, fast forward to Bahrain, pre-season testing. The entire Formula One grid is here, preparing for the new season. And Lewis Hamilton, he thought he could escape the noise inside the sport he loves. He was wrong. Because during the official F1 annual driver photoshoot, where all 22 drivers gathered together in a garage, Mercedes decided to mic up their star driver, George Russell, and capture some behind-the-scenes content. What happened next? Pure comedy gold. Russell walks straight over to Hamilton, puts his arm around him, and with a huge grin asks, and I quote, "All loved up, what's the latest?" Hamilton's response? He said absolutely nothing, just shook his head, smiled, and tried to redirect the conversation toward where he should be sitting for the photos. Russell gave him a pat on the back and left it there, but the damage was done because it was all on camera. Mercedes posted the video on their social media, captioned F1 driver photoshoot, George Chaos Edition, and the clip went viral instantly. Millions of views, thousands of comments. Everyone wanted to know the same thing George Russell was asking. But it did not stop with George Russell. Out in the media pen in Bahrain, Sky Sports F1 reporter Ted Kravitz revealed that Hamilton had been directly questioned about the Kardashian rumors during a media session. Kravitz reported that a journalist asked Hamilton, "Did you enjoy your company more than the game at the Super Bowl?" And that is when Lewis Hamilton looked the reporters dead in the eye and delivered the line that sent the internet into a frenzy. "It's my private life. I'm not talking about that. Done. Final. No smile this time. No deflection. Just a clear, firm, absolute shutdown." Now, for some people, that silence speaks louder than any confirmation ever could. For others, it is simply a man drawing a very reasonable line around his personal life. But either way, the story did not stop there, because the tabloids, they were just getting started. Here is something that many people have missed in the middle of all this Super Bowl hysteria. Lewis Hamilton and Kim Kardashian have known each other for years. We are talking over a decade of friendship here. Hamilton was close with Kardashian and her then-husband Kanye West. The two men attended GQ's Men of the Year Awards together in London. They were both at Glastonbury in 2016. Kanye West even invited Hamilton to an Easter brunch, where West himself recalled the moment, saying Hamilton came over to his house, they played music in his studio, and everyone's reaction was overwhelmingly positive. Hamilton has also built a close friendship with Kim's sister Kendall Jenner over the years, and Kris Jenner, the family matriarch herself, has been spotted cheering Hamilton on at the Monaco Grand Prix. In 2021, Hamilton and Kardashian posed together backstage at the Wall Street Journal Innovator Awards, with Hamilton praising her influence across fashion and entertainment. So when sources started saying that this romance feels different because of their long-standing friendship, that context actually makes a lot of sense. This is not two strangers who just met. This is a connection built over 10 years. Now, this is where things get serious. Because beyond the Super Bowl photos and the paddock jokes, Heat magazine has published a report that has stopped a lot of people in their tracks. Sources close to the pair claim that Hamilton and Kardashian have already been having serious conversations about starting a family together. According to The Insider, Hamilton was upfront from the beginning, telling Kardashian that he did not want to risk their long friendship for something casual. The source said, and I quote, "Lewis was upfront and said he didn't want to risk that for something casual." The report goes further, claiming that Hamilton has long wanted to be a father, and that the desire has only grown stronger as his racing career moves into its later stages. He reportedly does not want to be an absent father, and sources claim the pair have already discussed the possibility of Hamilton relocating to Los Angeles and what their blended family could look like together. Now Kardashian, who still reportedly has frozen eggs, is said to have discussed the possibility of using a surrogate. The insider said she reassured him she's prepared to have a family with him.
Former Formula One racing driver Michael Schumacher.
Michael Schumacher.
One of the greatest drivers of all time.
Greatest driver in Formula One history.
In critical condition.
The Formula One legend, Michael Schumacher's
catastrophic skiing injury.
They're reporting on that tragic ski accident to the town of Albertville in the French Alps.
And we can say that he is fighting for his life.
Michael Schumacher. Schumi of Formula One. 7 world championship titles during his illustrious career. A legend who rewrote the history books. A name that made rivals tremble. But where is he now? Does everyone still remember him? He's now sitting up in a wheelchair. Yes, you heard that right. A 7-time world championship winner in a wheelchair. Today, I'm going to find out everything about what happened to him. From the glory days of domination to the heartbreaking reality that Formula One never wanted to face. 7 world championships, 91 race wins. A name that struck fear into the hearts of every rival on the grid. Michael Schumacher wasn't just a driver, he was a force of nature who redefined what it meant to be a Formula One legend. But today, the Red Baron sits in a wheelchair, fighting the toughest battle of his life. This is the story of glory, tragedy, and a family's unwavering love. This is what really happened to Michael Schumacher. January 3rd, 1969. A small town called Hürth in Germany. A working-class family. A father who was a bricklayer. A mother who ran a canteen at the local karting track. Nobody could have predicted that the boy born that day would become the greatest racing driver the world had ever seen. At just 4 years old, Michael's father built him a pedal cart from discarded parts. When little Michael crashed it into a lamppost, his parents didn't scold him, they took him to the karting track. That decision changed motorsport history forever. By age 6, he won his first championship. By his teens, he was already being called a prodigy. But Schumi's family was poor, they couldn't afford a new engine. Local businessmen had to step in just to keep his dream alive. Every victory, every championship, it was built on sacrifice, determination, and a hunger that nobody could match. 1991, Belgian Grand Prix. A 22-year-old unknown steps into a Jordan Formula One car for the first time. Within one practice session, the entire paddock knew a star had arrived. Journalists whispered his name. The best talent since Stefan Beloff, they said. Benetton snatched him up immediately. And what followed was nothing short of domination. 2 championships with Benetton in 94 and 95. But Schumi wanted more. In 1996, he did the unthinkable. He joined Ferrari, a team that hadn't won a championship in 16 years. A team so broken, even their own drivers called their cars a disaster. But Michael Schumacher didn't come to Ferrari to compete. He came to conquer. This wasn't just greatness, this was immortality. But what made Michael Schumacher different? Why do legends like Lewis Hamilton still call him the greatest? It wasn't just speed, it was perfect. Schumi didn't just drive a car, he became one with it. His fitness regimen was revolutionary. 4 hours in the gym every single day. Neck muscles built to withstand G-forces that would crush ordinary men. While other drivers rested, Michael was at the track, testing, pushing, perfecting. Former teammate Giancarlo Fisichella said it best. He didn't even seem to have sweated during races. He was a machine. F1. Racing analysed his telemetry data in 2003. What they found was shocking. While other drivers either braked or accelerated in corners, Schumacher did both at the same time. He balanced his car with a sensitivity that seemed superhuman. At Monaco, he took corners at 25 kilometers per hour faster than his own teammate. Through hairpins where others lost time, Schumi gained half a second. Every single lap. Martin Brundle, his former teammate, watched Schumacher's telemetry at Suzuka. Full throttle through turn 1, a corner that should be impossible at that speed. Brundle said he was in awe. But beyond the numbers, beyond the records, there was something else. Schumi had a mentality that terrified his rivals, a win-at-all-costs mindset. He would push himself to the absolute limit, lap after lap, hour after hour, until he found speed nobody else could reach. You can be sure, Ross Brawn once said, that if there was a tenth of a second to be found, Michael would find it. That's why they called him Schumi, not just a nickname, a symbol of perfection, of dominance, of a champion who rewrote every rule in the sport. December 29, 2013, the Formula One world was at peace. Michael had retired the year before after his comeback with Mercedes. He was home with his family, his wife Corinna, his daughter Gina, his son Mick. They were on holiday in Méribel, France, a ski resort Michael knew like the back of his hand. He'd been there dozens of times. He owned a chalet there. The morning was beautiful, clear skies, fresh snow. Michael was skiing when he noticed a friend's daughter in trouble. Like the hero he'd always been, he left the marked trail to help her. But beneath the fresh snow, hidden from view, were exposed rocks. Michael struck a rock. He lost control. He was catapulted 10 meters through the air, head first, into a boulder. The right side of his head hit another rock. His helmet shattered into pieces. Blood poured from his skull. The man who had survived 300 Formula One races at 200 miles per hour, who had conquered every challenge on the track, was now lying unconscious in the snow. Within minutes, rescue teams arrived. Michael was conscious, but his words made no sense. He was agitated, confused, not responding to questions. A helicopter rushed him to Grenoble Hospital. When he arrived, doctors discovered the horrifying truth. Severe traumatic brain injury, internal bleeding, massive bruising on the brain. The doctors had one message for the world: extremely serious. If Michael hadn't been wearing a helmet, he wouldn't have survived at all. But even with it, his life hung by a thread. Surgeons operated twice to stop the bleeding, to reduce the swelling, to keep oxygen flowing to his brain. They placed him in a medically induced coma. Days turned to weeks, weeks turned to months. The Formula One legend, the 7-time world champion, the man who seemed invincible, was fighting for his life. And nobody knew if he would ever wake up. The world wanted answers. Millions of fans, heartbroken, desperate to know if their hero would survive. But the Schumacher family made a choice that some couldn't understand: silence. Corinna Schumacher, Michael's wife of nearly 30 years, became his protector. She shut out the world. No updates, no photographs, no information. Why? Because Michael had always said, private is private. But the media didn't care. Journalists dressed as priests tried to sneak into his hospital room. Helicopter company executives attempted to sell his medical records for $54,000. A so-called friend tried to peddle photos of Michael for over $1 million. In 2023, a German magazine published a fake AI-generated interview with Michael, claiming he had spoken to them. It was a lie, a cruel, heartless lie that shattered his family all over again. The family sued. They won. Through it all, Corinna stood strong. She built a state-of-the-art medical facility in their home. She hired a team of doctors, nurses, therapists, all working around the clock. Jean Todt, Michael's former Ferrari boss and closest friend, was one of the few allowed to visit. In 2019, he revealed a heartbreaking truth. Michael is no longer the Michael we knew in Formula One. He is different, but he is here and he is fighting. Fighting, just like he always did on the track. 12 years have passed since that terrible day, and in 2025, for the first time, new details have emerged. Michael Schumacher is no longer bedridden. He can sit up in a wheelchair. He can be moved around his properties in Switzerland and Mallorca. Medical sources say the feeling is he understands some of the things going on around him, but probably not all of them. The 7-time world champion. The man who drove at 200 miles per hour with perfect precision. The legend who won 91 races. He now spends his days in a wheelchair, surrounded by his family, fighting a battle far harder than any he faced on track. His son Mick followed in his father's footsteps. He raced in Formula 1 for Haas. He wore his father's helmet. He carried the Schumacher name with pride. In the 2021 Netflix documentary, Mick broke down. "I would give up everything just to talk